your impression of the goal line, were you told, the deliberate over the goal line, were you told during the week that there was going to be a focus or crackdown on deliberate over the goal line?
No, I'm not sure if the club was, but as players, we didn't find that out. No.
That's interesting because my understanding, and it's been publicly talked about, that there was a memo. Do we still send memos? An email sent to, no, it wasn't memo, sent to all the clubs to identify the fact that the umpiring department had missed a couple of those in the previous 2 weeks, and that there would be, well, it doesn't matter what word you use. Hayden Kennedy said it wasn't a crackdown, so let's call it a focus on that particular part of the ground. It's interesting that it didn't filter down through to the playing group.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What's your understanding of that rule?
Well, from watching it for the last few years, I think you can just almost just walk it through without, you can't play onto yourself and just walk it through like Down did all those years ago. But if you're near the line and there's someone within 5 metres, you can just almost just take it through.
So someone within 5 metres, not necessarily right on you to tackle, you can just take it through.
Yeah.
You see, Mick, I reckon under that scenario going forward, that could be a free kick. If you're 5 metres, there's no pressure from 5 metres, and you walk it over, that could be a free kick.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just seems very different than the boundary throwing, or the boundary line, sorry.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Which I don't think it should just be the same, almost.
Well, we did have that discussion just before you came on, mate, and I've for a number of years thought that there should be some consistency with the circumference of the ground. The argument is, of course, over the goal line is that you do concede a penalty. But my counter-argument to that is you get the ball back. You concede a point, but you get possession of the ball. Now, who knows what you do with that ball, but at least you get the opportunity to bring the ball back in and control things. It's in the hands of your own, or you're in control of your own destiny with the ball in hand. So that's the offsetting factor to it.
Yeah, it's a really great discussion because sometimes when you do concede a point, when they concede a point for you, it can become a 7-point play based on a good defensive structure.
Yeah, true.
And sometimes you think, well, state of game, where's it at? Hope they put it through the points so we get a chance to get it back on their kick-in, as opposed to numbers around the footy, boundary line throw-in, if it's not deemed as deliberate. En masse, they're around the footy to create scoring opportunities there. In that situation, it's difficult to do.
But if you're 3 or 4 points down, Mark, and you're near the goal line, I mean, clearly you want to get it through to give you the opportunity to get the ball back in hand to try and score.
Yeah, correct. As you would.
Yeah.
So, I know Mitchie Robinson decided in the final a few years ago. You can remember that when he jumped up and hit the ball through.
Hit the ball through.
That's right.
That's right. That was a discussion point at the time.
That's just an example of some blokes that don't even know some of the
rules. Didn't know the rule.
Anyway,
yeah.
It's an interesting one. Like I reckon keep it sort of similar as a boundary line. I don't know. I reckon it's good. I'm enjoying the deliberate out of bounce at the moment. I reckon it's been good for footy. I reckon the crowd are getting right into it.
Yeah.
I reckon.
So you get the ball in the back pocket. What's your and you're under a bit of pressure. Is your mindset, well, I need to try and disguise this well, or I've just got to try and kick it centrally more than I otherwise would just to keep it in?
I reckon players are still thinking get it as far away as possible. And if you give it deliberate out of bounds, you get a chance to set up.
Right.
I think that's the initial thinking at the moment, rather than going central. If you're trying to save the game, I reckon if you're a few points up, I reckon you're just trying to go as long as you can. And if it goes out of bounds and it's deliberate, at least you get a chance to get someone on the mark and set up, rather than put it back in the corridor and give them an opportunity.
This won't sound like it's in the spirit of the game, but has there been any discussion that when you're hard up against the boundary line and you're under pressure, instead of trying to handball it or get it over, that you kick it 25 rows back?
Yep, there's a few boys actually mentioned that. If it's 30 seconds to go and you're on the wing, just boot it into the stadium. But I don't know, into row M. I'm sure that'll work.